Hi there, and welcome to another lesson on Language Paper 1. Today, we're going to talk about Paper 1, Question 3, focusing on the extract on the life of pi. Previously, I did a video on Paper 1, Question 2, so today we're looking at Question 3. Question 3 is always the same. You get given a text. In this instance, you need to think about the whole of the source. As we're reading the text, we need to be highlighting keywords, phrases, ideas related to the structure. And if you look at the text they give us on the question, how has the writer structured the text to interest you as a reader? So in this question, we're primarily discussing the idea of structure. So our focus needs to be around that. We don't need to do any extensive word analysis, mainly focusing on structure, how it focuses our attention at the beginning. This is something we need to look at. Then we need to also consider how and why the writer changes this focus as the source develops. And one key word in the question is this idea of focus. So focus is something that we need to consider very closely. This question can be very misleading. So I always like to think of it in this way. I'll put these questions together because students always find question 3 very challenging. As we're reading the extract, what is the writer focusing our attention to? At different points of the extract, where is our focus going as we're reading it? And why is the writer taking our focus to these moments? Focus is one of the key methods that help us to understand structure. And then as the focus is changing, what effect does this have for us? What does it do for us as readers? Why is our focus being dragged away to certain parts of the text? So that's something we need to consider. I've also said, how does the structure change? Throughout the extract, it's designed in a way where the structure will constantly change. So we can talk about the length of paragraphs, certain sentences that take our attention away, certain characters that might be a key focus in the extract, and also consider this idea of the shift in focus, the changes in the focus. And it's important to also understand when you're doing this question, what's the sequence of events that the writer has put out? Why does the sequence go in this particular order? For example, why does it start in this way? And as the text develops, how does the ending link to the beginning? Is there a contrast between the beginning and the end? What impact does that create for us as readers? So we're going to go through some key moments within the life of pi extract, and the link has been shared with you. So if we look here, coming back to the extract, right at the beginning, it says, "It was the hyena that worried me. I had not forgotten father's words. Hyenas attack in packs whatever animal can be run down. They go for zebras, etc., water buffaloes." All of this information is given. So there's a lot of commentary about the hyenas. So straight away, the focus at the beginning is on the hyenas. The speaker then brings the attention to, I could hear the hyena whining. And then I kept one eye on the horizon, one eye on the other end of the lifeboat. So this hyena has taken Pi's focus. And it's very important for us to think about, what does this do for us as a reader? We get this sense that the hyena is like a predator. It attacks things. And Pi also brings in the idea of his father's words and the fact that they attack in packs. So it creates this sense of threat, intimidation, foreshadowing right at the beginning of the extract. So the hyena is the central focus at the beginning. And then as you read the extract, that this idea develops around the hyena. So my first point of the paragraphs when I'm answering will be how the hyena is the main focus at the beginning of the extract, creates a sense of foreshadowing, maybe the sense of this hyena becoming a threat for Pi. And then As we approach the end of the extract, it says when an animal decides to do something, it can do it for a very long time. And then we see mentions such as how Pi is waiting for his salvation, and it kept straying back to this beast and this maniac. So he's clearly in fear of this hyena, even towards the end of the extract. Then it says, things ended in typical hyena fashion. It stopped at the stern and started producing deep groans, interrupted by fits of heavy panting. As we approach the end of the extract, so these are the last two paragraphs, the focus is still on the hyena, but now it's as though we can hear the hyena and it's literally in front of Pi, and he's giving it a lot of attention. The sense of fear, intimidation has increased. He then says, I pushed myself away on the oar till only the tips of my feet were holding onto the boat. The animal hacked and coughed. Abruptly it vomited. A gush landed behind the zebra. The hyena dropped into what it had just produced. So the hyena seems to be very unwell. It's very vulnerable, but it's still a threat to Pi. Then says it stayed there, shaking and whining and turning around on itself, exploring the furthest confines of animal anguish. It did not move from the restricted space for the rest of the day. So this hyena is in a very vulnerable state. Though it was seen as a threat at the beginning, it's changed because the hyena is no longer a threat in the sense that it's not a physical threat. It doesn't seem willing to attack Pi, but it's clearly something that interests him because he's constantly looking the hyena and monitoring its movements. And this emphasizes this sense of fear that Pi has around this particular animal. And line 44, where it says things ended in typical hyena fashion. So this idea of the hyena is constantly repeated, and the motions, the actions of the hyenas is something that Pi keeps repeating constantly. And it shows that the idea of the hyena is something that fascinates him. If I was writing my second paragraph about this extract, I would establish that at the end of the extract, the focus again shifts to the animals, and then the writer zooms in to the hyena, its actions, how it's become vulnerable, how it's becoming weak. It doesn't pose a physical threat to Pi, but the idea of the hyena is still very much powerful in the highest. Pi still fears this animal that he's fascinated by based on what his father once told him. So the fact that he had not forgotten father's words, that idea is emphasized at the end, because rather than changing the focus away from the hyena and how it's become vulnerable, he's still recalling his father's words. This fascination with the hyena constantly stays with him. This sense of intimidation, fear is something that is constant within the extract. This is an idea that you can help yourself to develop to then answer the question. What I will be sharing in the next videos is an answer, a model paragraph. I'll also be bringing up AQA commentary on question 3 to help you understand how to navigate through this question. It's important to establish the ideas and the structural shifts and the sequences and the changes in pattern in this extract, as opposed to just picking out a quote and then saying what it suggests. You need to look at the text in a comprehensive, holistic way, and that will help you get success in this question. I hope you found this brief video useful, and I will be sharing more tips on question 3. Keep yourself up to date with what is happening on my channel. I hope you benefit from this video, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.